Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome you at our VIP corner. We are starting our press point with Commissioner Mікаллеф and Ukrainian Minister of Culture and Strategic Communication, Mikola Точицький. Obviously, this is a press point about protection of cultural heritage in Ukraine, also in European Union. And without further ado, I give the floor to the Commissioner Mікаллеф.
Thank you. Minister Точицький, dear Mikola, welcome. Today's press point is on the European Union's role in supporting Ukraine to protect its cultural heritage and its cultural sovereignty. It's an important moment in the road to the Ukraine Recovery Conference in 2 weeks' time in Rome. This is the 4th Ukraine Recovery Conference dedicated to the swift recovery and long-term reconstruction of Ukraine since the beginning of Russia's war of aggression. And culture will be key in Rome. Which is why today, and ahead of Rome, I am honored and proud to reaffirm our engagement and commitment to Ukraine and its place in European culture. To formally present and to hand over a publication with case studies on cultural heritage funds in Europe. This provides an overview of the management of cultural heritage funds. It was prepared by the European Expert Network on Culture, with the main objective of the study being to inspire the design of a Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Fund. A fund which will be designed to protect, to preserve, and to promote Ukrainian cultural heritage. The Ukrainian Heritage Fund is also a concrete outcome of the Uzhhorod Declaration and the ministerial meeting hosted by Minister Точицький in Ukraine last February. But I will come to this later. After this moment here, together with my dear friend Mikola, we will visit the Royal Institute for Cultural Heritage in Parc Saint-Quentin. The Royal Institute for Cultural Heritage that is working with partners on the Creative Europe funded READY project. A project which includes an important focus on safeguarding heritage in the face of disasters. Two Ukrainian partners, Yakщо and the Maidan Museum, are co-designing activities within this initiative, precisely because we believe that part of our shared European culture is the celebration of the diversity of national cultures. And as I have said many times, to destroy a nation, you target its culture. This is exactly what Russia is doing. It is targeting Ukrainian culture and cultural heritage. When we're talking about cultural heritage more specifically, the numbers are nothing short of shocking. UNESCO has now verified damage to 485 cultural sites since 24th of February 2022. And according to data made available by the Ministry of Culture and Strategic Communications of Ukraine, as of April 2025, 1,419 cultural heritage sites and 2,233 cultural infrastructure facilities have already been damaged. Estimates for reconstruction and recovery needs in the culture and tourism sectors only have now exceeded €9 billion. But I'm sure Mikola will provide an update on these numbers and give further detail. But the attacks have not only been limited to cultural heritage. Organized disinformation campaigns have been constantly targeting Ukrainian intangible cultural heritage as well. This is a barbaric attack on Ukrainian sovereignty. It's a deliberate decision to undermine the identity, the unity, and the morale of Ukraine and Ukrainians. I experienced this personally when the night before the meeting that Mikola hosted in Uzhhorod, Russia attacked the historic center of Odessa, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This was intended to dampen our morale, but it backfired greatly because it strengthened it further. And I speak here of morale, collective, and plural, which means that we must protect it together, which means that protecting cultural heritage is also an act of resilience. And since cultural objects treasure memories, they are a crucial part of Ukrainian identity and Ukrainian sovereignty. Just to mention some examples, the St. Sophia Cathedral in Kiev, which I visited with my colleagues during the college visit of commissioners to Kiev, the Golden Pectoral from the Tovitsa Mohylia, Taras Shevchenko National Museum, and the Church of Ascension in Yasinya. These artifacts and locations are loaded with cultural significance. They must be safeguarded at all costs, and by protecting these symbols of Ukraine's past, we are helping to guarantee Ukraine's European future. Before I conclude, I also want to inform you about the process leading to the study and about further ongoing work. As I mentioned earlier, in February 2025, I participated at the Cooperation for Resilience Conference in Uzhhorod, Ukraine, chaired by the Minister. The Declaration on Strengthening the Resilience of Ukraine's Cultural Sector was adopted at this conference, and that declaration has acted as a guide on the road to Rome, with participating countries there agreeing to help establish a Ukrainian Heritage Fund, for which the study presented today will serve as guidance. Following Uzhhorod, after exchanges with the Minister, I wrote to the Ministers of Culture of all EU member states to coordinate a joint response to further support Ukrainian cultural heritage. I am truly heartened by the collective response to this initiative, and I will formally give more details of this and the member states' responses on 10th July in Rome. What is urgently needed are practical commitments. Right now, commitments to storage, exhibition, and conservation and restoration. And for the future, we need to strengthen our support for Ukrainian youth and cultural and creative sectors, so that they can again become the long-term custodians of their rich cultural heritage. Ukraine's cultural heritage and Ukraine's culture are a living expression of both national and European identities. So for us as a European Union, this is an investment in the future of a sovereign Ukraine in the European Union, and we see this as our duty, we see this as our responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And now over to Mikola Точицький, Ukrainian Minister of Culture.
Thank you very much. First of all, Your Excellency, dear Commissioner Glen Mікаллеф, dear representatives of the press and media, dear colleague. In your presence, I would like to emphasize that we deeply appreciate the constant and unwavering support of European Union for the Ukrainian people resisting to the Russian aggression. I would like to express my personal gratitude to European Commissioner Glен Mікаллеф, dear Glenn, for his active assistance and involvement in the process of restoring and preserving the cultural sphere in Ukraine. As my colleague mentioned already, Russia has damaged or completely destroyed 2,333 cultural infrastructure facilities. And since the April, the data which have been provided by Commissioner, we have 1,482 heritage sites in Ukraine which have been destroyed, including historical monuments, churches, theaters, museums, and libraries. Many of them are of national or even global significance, as already Commissioner mentioned, including UNESCO Cultural Heritage St. Sophia Cathedral in Kiev, the Historic Center of Odessa, which 2 days ago have been damaged again since our meeting in Uzhhorod, and of course the Deshprom building in Kharkiv, which have been targeted many times during these 3.5 years of the war. The invaders have looted and smuggled tens of thousands of cultural artifacts from museums in the occupied territory of Ukraine. Much more they are turned into the tool of propaganda and enforcing of their ideology, telling that this is some demonstration that Russia was created before. Some stupid decision, but in any case. Thousands of artists, performers, cultural figures, and educators have been displaced or forced to stop their work. Unfortunately, it's not only about the cultural heritage. It's also about the artists, about the people. For the moment, 2008, a representative of the cultural sector were killed during this war. All this makes fundamental elements of Russia's aggression's war against Ukraine, and we consider this as an attempt to erase the Ukrainian culture. This war not only caused enormous human suffering, but also physical destruction. They are trying to destroy a Ukrainian identity, not only a Ukrainian heritage seats. Colleagues, dear Commissioner, dear Glenn, it's also clear that the cultural genocide, despite the enemy's plan, has had the opposite effect. The war became a catalyst for the interest of Ukrainian culture. For the moment, we have a huge, intensive growing of people which would like to visit the cultural seats. I can tell you that the tickets to Ukrainian theaters sold out 6 months in advance already. For some, of course, not in all theaters, but in majority of them. The number of bookstores in our city is growing. Performance, exhibition, concert activities, both in Ukraine and abroad, started to be more multiple. During this war, Ukrainian culture turned into the symbol of resilience of the Ukrainian people. It became an important element in the fight for the independence and freedom. That is the international resilience plans of Ukraine, which have been presented and already mentioned by my colleague and friend, Commissioner Mікаллеф, have been presented by President Zelensky in November last year, and exactly after that, together with Commissioner and colleagues, the Ministers of Culture of European Union, we organized the first international conference, Cooperation for Resilience. And since that, we had different meetings in Warsaw, in Krakow, Florence, and with concrete and personal dedication of Commissioner to help Ukraine and Ukrainians to preserve our cultural heritage. As a result, dear Commissioner, and as your personal dedication, the first time in history of Ukrainian Recovery Conference, we will have a first day dedicated to culture as a main element of resilience, as a main element of identity, as a main element of each of dimension which will be discussed during the conference in Rome. We are working closely with the European Commission and the partner states to present such a mechanism of creation, as already have been mentioned by Commissioner of Ukraine, Cultural Heritage Fund in Europe. I would like to thank Commissioner and his team for a special study which you have on your table for the moment on Cultural Heritage Fund in Europe, which was carried out by the European Commission. The study provided to the Ukrainian expert the different mechanisms from the different member states, including heritage governance, special incentive-based support for heritage, heritage emergency response, and other mechanisms. I am really thankful for that. And during the meetings with our commissioner, we also discussed the topic of sanctions. And I am delighted to thank the European Commission for the 70th sanction package, which reflect the sanction towards so-called Russian cultural directors, especially those which stolen a Taurian Hersonese museum during the Crimea occupation. This fact, is the fact of sanctions, the fact of 17th package, inspired Ukrainian society jointly protect cultural heritage together with EU. We deeply appreciate your support for Ukrainian culture, which remain a vital and basic for our resilience, for our cooperation, and for our fight. I am sincerely, again, dear Commissioner, thankful to you, and I would like to finish by what I started. The unwavering support of EU from the first day of the open, non-provoked Russian aggression, it's a main element of our resilience, of our defense, and main element of our future, as Commissioner mentioned, to become one day a member of the family of the European Union. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Minister. And now we can witness the official handover of the case studies on cultural heritage funds in Europe. We obviously wish the Ukrainian culture was protected against the Russian attacks, and we wish that this can serve as an inspiration for Ukraine. We have time for a couple of questions. Are there any questions in the audience?
We made a good presentation.
Everything.
It was perfect.
Thank you.
If you would like to follow up, you can obviously reach to us. Otherwise, I thank you very much for your speeches. We stand with Ukraine, and I wish you a nice rest of the afternoon.
And see you in Rome. We will have not only excellent platform with excellent speaker as commissioner and our colleagues from different countries, but also excellent exhibition which have been prepared together with our European Commission friends. Thank you.
With strong pledges reflecting our commitment.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.